guys, welcome to the 21st C programming tutorial, and in this tutorial we're going to be looking at functions some more. Alright, so in the previous tutorial we made this function here called print error, and all that it did was print out onto the screen error. Now let's just say that we want to give the user more of an idea what happened, like what exactly went wrong in the program, instead of just saying error. We wanted to say error, and then after this we wanted to just give them some message as to what exactly went wrong. Now every time that the caller calls this print error function, chances are that the error is not always going to be something like you entered an invalid character. There may be something else that went wrong. So we can't assume exactly what the error is going to be. We need to get some information from the caller. So we need the caller, or the person who calls this print error function, to give us a string or a character array that is the error message, or is what went wrong with the program. So in order to get input from the caller, what we're going to have to do is inside of these parentheses just type car, and then I'm going to type message, and then following that put 2 square brackets. So right here we just have the caller, or the person who calls this print error function, give us some character array. In this character array we want it to be the message, or the error message that we printed out onto the screen after it says error right there. Alright, and since we updated our actual function, we're going to have to go ahead and update our prototype as well. So I'm just going to go ahead and copy this and paste it up here. Alright, so now every time that the user calls this print error function, they need to provide us with an error message. And then we just wanted to print that error message out along with this error right here. So after it says error, we just wanted to print out that error message that the user provides, or the caller provides. So we just need to do %s since we're printing out a string or a character array, and then following that we just need to put the name of the character array that we're going to be printing out, and in our case it's just called message. So I'm going to print out message following that. Alright, so now let me go ahead and call this print error function. So I'm going to say print error, and then inside of these parentheses I need to provide some error message. Now I'm just going to say you entered an invalid character. Alright, so now let's just go ahead right here and walk through what exactly this program is doing. So the first thing that we're doing right here is we're calling this print error function. So your computer is going to go through your program and look for a function called print error. There it is right here, print error. Then what it's going to do is it's going to set this character array called message equal to you entered an invalid character. Then it's going to go ahead and print out onto the screen error, colon, and then after that it's just going to go ahead and print out onto the screen the character array that the user entered. So in our case it's going to print out you entered an invalid character and then a new line. So it's going to say error, colon, you entered an invalid character, new line. Alright, so let's just go ahead and run this and make sure that that's what happens. Yep, perfect. And if we were to change this text right here to something else, like there, let's just say an unknown error has occurred. Alright, so let's just go ahead and run this and make sure that this is what we get out onto our screen. Yep, error, colon, an unknown error has occurred. Perfect. Alright, and passing something in to your function right here, so we passed in this character array called message, is called passing through a parameter. So this right here is a parameter, this character array called message. And right now we only have one parameter being passed through to this print error function. And we can have as many parameters passed through as we want. So let's say that we want the user or the caller to also pass through an integer variable that will determine how many times this error message is printed out onto the screen. So we also need an int called amount, and then we're just going to go ahead and change this up here to int amount. So int amount. Alright, so now this function called print error has 2 parameters. We need to provide a character array called message and an integer called amount, and this amount will determine how many times this error message is printed out onto the screen. So what we're going to do right here is just say for int I equals 0, while I is less than the amount that the user passes in as a parameter. Then we just want it to increment I so that it will actually do it that many times. So now basically what we have this do is we just have a function right here called print error, and it takes two parameters, a character array called message and an integer that will determine how many times this error message is printed out onto the screen. So basically what it's going to do is it's just going to print out onto the screen error : and then whatever message that caller provides, and will print this message out as many times as the caller specifies. So right now if we try and run this program, we're going to get an error, and that's because we only have one parameter right here. We only pass through an unknown error has occurred. We only pass through a character array. We also need to pass through an integer determining how many times this error message will be printed out onto the screen. So we just need to do comma and then the amount of times that we want this error message on our screen. I'm just going to go ahead and do 1. So now if I run this, it'll work fine, and we see we get one time onto our screen, error, an unknown error has occurred. Now if I were to change this number to like 3 or something and run this, we should get this error message 3 times onto our screen. Alright, so that's pretty much it for this tutorial, so see you guys.